Well, it's not just people buying homes. I mean, the condition of houses particularly in Sydney and Melbourne for rent is going down really quickly, and that's causing enormous pressure on people who will probably never, the way things are going, be able to afford their own home anyway. I mean, the amount of despair this is causing ordinary Australians is ridiculous and seemingly pointless. I mean, Dan, do you have any idea why the government is doing this? I mean, you could say that the sort of people they're bringing in are probably natural Labor voters, but why do they want to just put all this pressure on our urban infrastructure, on housing and on ordinary Australians? It doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense, and it's a very good question that needs to put to Minister Andrew Giles, to Minister Claire O'Neill, and most particularly to the Prime Minister, Anthony Albanese. Why are they doing this? Because it doesn't make sense. And when it comes to the pandemic visa, these are the figures up until March. So we don't know how many have also been issued in April, in May and in June, which will have just extended that number. And we can't understand why they've used that visa other than the fact that it is just sloppy and easy and doesn't require them working out where the skill shortages are in this nation and trying to specifically address them. What they're doing is just saying, all right, we'll just let as many people in as we possibly can. And the problem with that is you actually exacerbate the skills problems and all these other issues, your housing issues, your rental issues, your health issues, your congestion issues, your environmental issues, which come with it. So no one wins.
Yeah, well, speaking of the skill, importing skills, I think the nation's got enough Uber drivers and 7-Eleven shop assistants just quietly. But the impression that the man on the street gets, Dan, is that nobody's actually in control here, that it's the bureaucrats who are deciding how many people come into this country and for what reason. Am I right?
No, I wouldn't agree with you on that point because ultimately in the end, the government sets the agenda. And, 6 months into the Albanese Labor government's first term, I spoke at the National Press Club. I actually warned of this, that Labor had no plan and therefore it was ripe for exploitation. And that's exactly what we've seen happen, this big Australia by stealth approach that the government is now pursuing. And, the government could have said, OK, we're not in the pandemic anymore. We are going to stop and basically not issue any more pandemic visas. But instead, what have they done? They've actually issued more pandemic visas than were issued when the borders were closed and we were in the pandemic. So the buck stops with Anthony Albanese and his Labor government. They are deliberately pursuing this policy. They're allowing the pandemic visa to be used in this way. We've seen, and this figure will astound you, there has been a 290% increase in visas issued under this government. So this is a deliberate policy by the government. So I think in the end the buck stops with them.